In the arms of a stranger. Gila.
Hey guys, what's going on? It's Mike here, and today I'm going to be doing a commentary on my bus drivers. I've never really had the best luck with my bus drivers. I've always kind of had shitty bus drivers. It's been really interesting. But I have one in particular I want to talk about. But before we get that, let's get into backstory mode. So my first bus driver, she was like really nice. She was the best bus driver I ever had. But the thing is, I moved and I never saw her after that. But she was really nice, and she always gave me candy when it was like Christmas or something like that. So that was really nice. And yeah, she was like a bus driver for my family for a long time. Like my sister had her and everything. And then I moved, and again, I had a pretty decent bus driver. Like, she wasn't the worst bus driver, but she wasn't the best. She was pretty decent. Same thing, she gave me candy like on Valentine's Day and Christmas and stuff like that, and Halloween. So then she actually moves to a different bus because I get a new bus route. Basically, my bus gets a new route and I have to get put on a different bus. I mean, with the same people and everything, but like just a different bus driver and some new people. And this bus driver sucked. She was so bad. She was my 4th grade bus driver. I remember it. And she always, if I put my feet in the aisle, she would yell at me. If I stood up, she would yell. I mean, these aren't things you should do on the bus anyway, but like, chill out. Like, she was so grumpy. She was like old, and her name was like Cheryl or something, and she was just no. She was so bad. She was the worst bus driver in the world. I hated her. She was such a bitch. And then she got fired because a lot of people complained. Now, my next bus driver is the one I wanted to talk about. He was like some Egyptian dude. He was definitely my favorite bus driver, but he wasn't the best one in the world. He always he went really fast on the road, and then he would slam on the brakes whenever he sees someone standing out for the bus. Like, I'm pretty sure he didn't have the bus stops memorized. He just kind of had the route memorized. Whenever he saw a kid, he just slammed on the brakes. It was so funny. But I don't understand how he didn't get fired. Like, he was my bus driver for like 5 years, and he was the best bus driver I ever had, but also the worst at the same time. One time, he was like really stubborn because 2 cars were blocking his way. Like, but he could have gotten through, and he just like kind of stood there and started beeping so loud. Like, he kept beeping for like the longest time. Like, he'd hold his hand on the horn and just for like the longest time in the world. And finally, my neighbor came out and he's like, you know what? I'll just take them and walk them home. And it was so funny. But like, he was stuck there for the longest time. He was so pissed. And another time, he was stubborn again, and 2 cars were blocking his way. But this time, instead of like waiting for the cars, because there were actually people in these cars this time, they weren't parked. He hit a tree like 3 times, like trying to back out. So basically, how it worked is he pulled into this street, and then to turn around, he like went forward. It was like, okay, imagine a T. So he pulls into the bottom of the T, the part that's vertical, goes to the left side of the T, pulls back to the right side, and then goes back down the bottom part, the vertical part of the T, to go back to the road, to turn around. But he couldn't get to like the left side of the T, so he just kind of like went backwards and forwards and backwards and forward in the vertical part of the T, and hit a tree like 5 times, and it was the funniest thing in the world because we were like, what are you even doing, kid? Like, honestly, just wait for the cars. But he was like so impatient and stuff. Oh, and this other time, he literally missed like, okay, so the way my street works is you go up the street and then you pull into this neighborhood, and that's what the route was. You go up the street, pull into the neighborhood, and then you go up the street again to pull out of the neighborhood, go up the street again to get to my house. And one time he forgot to go up the street, and so me and like 3 other stops were like missed, and we had to get driven to school by one of my neighbors. It was so funny. this bus driver he was so bad, and he hated every single grade on my bus except for mine. Like, I don't know why he liked my grade so much. He's like, you guys are my, he literally told us, he's like, you guys are my kids, I love you guys, and it was the best thing in the world. But he finally got fired the year that my grade went to high school, so he didn't drive a lot of us anymore, so he left. Either he left or he got fired. Oh, forgot to mention this. One time he got in a screaming match with my principal because of something stupid that happened. Okay, so he was very protective of my grade. Like, keep in mind of that. Like, he loved my grade. And one of the kids in my grade on my bus said something to one of the 6th graders. Like, we were talking about, like, sex or something. One of the 6th graders complained about us. And that's why I hate 7th graders now. And they told on us, and they told our principal, and our principal was coming to talk to us, and my bus driver got so defensive and started screaming at the principal and locked him out of the bus. Like, the bus door was open, and the bus driver was screaming through the bus to the the principal, and he literally just, like, locked the door, and he's like, no, I'm not talking to you anymore. And then later my whole bus gets called down for an assembly, and everyone complains about him except for my grade, because my grade just loves him so much because he's so funny and nice to my grade. I don't know. He was just, like, the best bus driver in the world. It was a lit time on that bus. Honestly, though, the bus was literally just my favorite time of the day. Like, all my friends were on it, and we just kind of, like, screwed around. It was so much fun. Like, the bus was the best part of school by far.